My dear brothers and sisters, there are days when heaven leans close to the earth, days when the wind carries whispers of mercy, and your soul can feel the touch of God before the sun even rises. October 15th is one of those days. This day is not just a number on the calendar. It is an appointed time, a divine visitation, a doorway to miracles if your heart dares to believe. So today I ask you not to simply hear my voice, but to lift your spirit, because what you speak in faith God will seal in heaven. October 15th, a day that might seem ordinary to the hurried soul, a page flipped over in the calendar, a number tucked between yesterday and tomorrow. But for the one who listens deeply, who feels the trembling pulse of creation, this day hums with divine rhythm. It is no accident that you are alive to see it. No mistake that your spirit has been stirred to pray. For October 15th is not just another sunrise. It is an appointed hour, a sacred meeting place between heaven and your home. There are moments in life when time itself bends to grace, when the veil between the natural and the supernatural becomes thin, and you can feel heaven leaning close enough to hear your whisper. October 15th is such a moment. It is a day of visitation of divine possibility, and the Lord, who numbers every hair on your head, has circled this date on your life's calendar long before you ever saw it. Now, my child, I know the weight of weary seasons. I know what it means to carry prayers that feel unanswered, to walk hallways where silence echoes louder than hope. But hear me. Just because heaven has been quiet does not mean heaven has been still. God moves in silence. He writes in whispers. And sometimes he waits until the appointed time, the divine moment, when your heart is tender enough, your spirit open enough for the miracle to take root. October 15th is such a moment. You see, the power of a day is not found in its number, but in its purpose. And this day carries purpose like a river carries water. It moves through the corridors of faith, seeking those who are ready to believe again. Those who are willing to lift their voices even after disappointment. Those who dare to trust that miracles are not fairy tales but living promises waiting to bloom. October 15th is God's gentle reminder that your story is not over. It is His way of saying, I have not forgotten you. The same God who commanded the sun to rise still commands blessings to find their way to your door. And He has chosen this day to tell you, prepare your heart, for something is shifting. Some of you have prayed for years. You've waited for doors to open, for relationships to heal, for peace to return to your home. And perhaps you've begun to wonder if heaven misplaced your name. But no, my friend. Heaven does not lose what it loves. The delay was not denial, it was design. God was preparing the soil of your life, so that when the seed of your prayer sprouted, it would not wither under doubt. October 15th arrives like a promise kept. It whispers to your spirit, now is the time. For every tear that fell in faith, for every sleepless night when you chose prayer over despair, this day stands as a witness. Heaven has heard you. When the Almighty marks a day as holy, it is because something divine desires to unfold. The angels, I believe, prepare their posts. The winds carry blessings that have your name written upon them. And all creation pauses for a breath, waiting for one voice, your voice to speak words of faith. Because God will not move where there is no invitation. And prayer, child, is the invitation that opens the door. So on this October 15th, you must rise early. Stand in your room, your kitchen, your garden, wherever your heart feels alive, and speak. Not with the trembling of doubt, but with the boldness of a child who knows her father listens. Speak over your home. Speak over your family. Speak over your future. For heaven bends to the sound of faith-filled words. Do not rush this prayer. Let each word linger in the air like incense rising before the throne of grace. Say it slowly, with intention. Feel the weight of its power, because when you pray on a day that heaven has appointed, your words do not just fall into the air, they fall into eternity. And maybe, just maybe, you'll sense something changing. The air might feel lighter, the silence softer, the room warmer. That is no accident. That is heaven drawing near. That is the Spirit of God reminding you, I am here and I am listening. For miracles are not only found in the loud moments, the parting of seas, the raising of the dead, the thunder and the flame. Miracles also dwell in the quiet corners of an ordinary day, when a heart dares to hope again. October 15th carries that quiet power. It invites you to believe that the supernatural can slip into your everyday life, unseen but undeniable. And maybe this is the miracle itself, not just what you will receive, but what you will become. For faith changes the receiver before it changes the result. The woman who prays today will not be the same woman who woke up this morning. Her eyes will see clearer. Her soul will stand taller. Her home will hum with peace, because she dared to speak life into her walls. So when the sun sets on this October 15th, I want you to pause. Look around your home. Listen to the silence. You may not see the full miracle yet, but know that it has already begun. The shift has happened. The heavens have been stirred. And in the days to come, you will begin to notice small signs, things aligning, hearts softening, unexpected favor walking toward you. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations, they are God's gentle way of saying, "See, I told you I would move." Child, never forget this. Every season has its sacred day, every prayer its perfect hour. And October 15th is your reminder that God is still on time. He has not forgotten your address, your need, or your tears. This day marked in heaven was made for your miracle. So breathe deep. Lift your chin. Let gratitude fill your chest. For heaven is closer than it seems. And today, yes, this very October 15th, is the day when the divine touches the dust and calls it blessed. It is your appointed hour. It is your sacred dawn. It is your miracle's time to arrive. There is a holy power in the spoken word. The universe itself was birthed by it. Let there be light, and light leapt into existence. From that first utterance, all creation learned to respond to sound. Words carry weight. They shape reality, they build worlds, they break chains. My child, never underestimate the force of what leaves your lips. For the same tongue that can curse your own days can also command them to flourish. You see, faith was never meant to live in silence. It was born to speak. It was born to declare, to call things that are not as though they were. Too often we bury our prayers deep inside, hidden beneath fear or fatigue, thinking that God can hear the quiet whisper of our hearts, and He can. But there are moments when heaven waits for sound. There are moments when angels stand still until faith finds its voice. October 15th is one of those moments. A day not to whisper your hope, but to speak it boldly, clearly, like a trumpet calling light into your home. When you speak with faith, you are not merely talking, you are participating in divine creation. You are aligning your spirit with heaven's authority. Your words become bridges, spanning the distance between what is and what shall be. Every syllable of faith carries the seed of manifestation. And when it is released into the air, it does not return void. It moves, it works, it creates. I have seen people talk themselves into despair. I have seen them call failure inevitable and wonder why it came knocking at their door. But I have also seen others, poor in circumstance but rich in faith, speak joy where there was sorrow, declare peace where there was confusion, and watch as their lives reshape themselves to match their words. Child, what you speak over your life, your family, your home, it matters. It is sacred, for your tongue is a vessel of power. There is a rhythm to spiritual speech. Faith doesn't beg, it declares. It doesn't whimper, it proclaims. You are not pleading with a distant deity, you are agreeing with a living God. When you say, "Lord, peace lives in my home," you are not simply describing, you are creating. And when you say it again and again, each repetition lays another brick in the foundation of your miracle. You must understand, doubt speaks too. It whispers quietly, like a thief in the dark, telling you that your words mean nothing, that your situation is too old, your pain too deep, your prayer too late. But faith must drown that thief out. Faith must be louder. On this divine day, October 15th, faith must stand on the rooftop and shout, "My God still reigns, my home is blessed, my miracle is on its way." There is power in the name of Jesus, yes. But there is also power in the voice of the believer who dares to use that name. Heaven is not moved by silence, it is moved by belief spoken into existence. The woman who says, I am healed before the symptoms fade. The man who says, I am free while the chains still rattle, they are the ones who see the glory of God made visible. Every word is a seed. When spoken in faith, it finds fertile ground in heaven's soil. When spoken in fear, it grows weeds of worry that choke out peace. So guard your tongue, my dear. Let it not speak curses over your own home. Let it not repeat the language of defeat. Instead, let your mouth become an altar where every word is a prayer, every sentence a song of trust. Because your home listens, your walls absorb what you speak, and your spirit begins to believe the sound of your own confession. When you rise in the morning, speak to the day before the day speaks to you. Say, today my home is a house of peace. Say, my children are surrounded by light. Say, everything that belongs to me is protected. Don't wait until trouble comes to declare victory. Speak it now while the air is still calm. Speak it as an act of preparation, as a setting of the table for the miracle that is coming. Faith is not pretending that pain doesn't exist. Faith is refusing to give pain the final word. It's looking at the storm and saying, peace, be still. It's standing in the ruins and saying, God will rebuild. It's staring at an empty table and saying, provision is already on its way. This is the language of heaven. This is the speech of the believer. And this, my dear, is the power that transforms homes into holy ground. You don't have to be eloquent. You don't have to know fancy scripture or long prayers. Just speak from a heart that believes. God listens more to faith than to grammar. He hears the trembling. Help me just as clearly as the thunderous hallelujah. What matters is that you say it aloud, with conviction, because your words are carriers of light. They travel through your home, through your family, through the air, breaking curses and awakening blessings that have been waiting to be called forth. Sometimes, the change you seek will begin the moment you open your mouth. You might feel the room shift, or your own spirit rise. That is heaven responding. That is faith turning sound into substance. Keep speaking even when nothing seems different yet. Keep declaring even when silence mocks you. Because faith does not echo in vain. It builds unseen until the walls of doubt crumble. October 15th stands as a divine reminder of this truth, that your voice is not powerless, your prayer is not empty, your declaration is not ignored. When you speak in faith, you join the symphony of creation, the eternal music of let there be. And the same spirit that hovered over the waters in Genesis hovers over your home now, waiting for your words to move it. So open your mouth, beloved. Let no fear silence your praise. Speak to your home. Speak to your body. Speak to your future. Tell them all that God has spoken concerning you, that you are chosen, that you are protected, that you are loved. Let your voice be steady, rich with certainty. Let it roll through your house like thunder wrapped in honey, shaking loose the dust of despair and leaving peace in its place. Every prayer begins as a whisper, but when that whisper is spoken in faith, heaven hears it as a roar. And once heaven moves, nothing on earth can stand in the way. So today, use your voice as your weapon, your shield, your song. Speak your faith. Shape your future. Command your miracle to come home. And when you have spoken, be still. For the words you have released are already working, weaving through unseen realms, gathering your blessings and bringing them back to your doorstep. Say it, believe it, and watch it unfold. For the power is not only in what you pray, the power is in what you say. There is something sacred about a home. It is more than walls and windows, more than furniture and floors. A home holds the echo of laughter, the scent of memory, the rhythm of prayer. It is the place where love should linger longest and peace should sit like sunlight upon every corner. But there are homes, my dear, where the air feels heavy, where shadows cling to the walls, where the sound of harmony has gone quiet. The speech of heaven tells us that God did not create us to live in confusion. He designed every home to be a sanctuary, a refuge of rest, a garden of grace. When chaos has walked through your doorway, when arguments have become the language of your nights, when tears water your pillows and peace feels like a forgotten dream, that is the hour to pray. Not a timid prayer, not a shallow plea, but a bold invitation for heaven to step inside. For when God enters a home, everything changes. The light returns, the air softens, the heart remembers how to hope again. So this is what I want you to do, child. Open the door of your spirit and welcome him in. Let your home be more than a place to live. Let it become a place for God to dwell. For every home that invites his presence becomes holy ground. The dishes may still be dirty, the bills may still sit on the table, but when the spirit of peace arrives, even the simplest home begins to shine with glory. There are rooms that carry the residue of pain. Maybe it was the place where harsh words were spoken, where love was lost, where dreams fell apart. But those same rooms can become the birthplace of renewal. You can walk through them and pray, Lord, bring peace where there was pain. Bring joy where there was sorrow. Let this space breathe again, and you will find that heaven listens when you speak with love. God does not wait for your home to be perfect before he enters. He steps into the mess, into the noise, into the brokenness, and he begins to restore. He does not shame you for the clutter of your life. He helps you clean it out. His spirit moves through your house like fresh air through open windows, pushing out what does not belong and filling every corner with calm. There is healing for your home, if only you will invite it. Healing for relationships that have grown cold. Healing for children who have wandered far from faith. Healing for hearts that have carried bitterness like a second skin. The miracle of restoration is not only for the sick body, it is for the weary household. And when you call upon God, he begins to rearrange more than furniture. He rearranges the atmosphere. Some people think peace is the absence of problems. No, peace is the presence of God. It is his hand resting gently over your home, his spirit whispering through your walls. Be still and know that I am here. When peace comes, it does not ask your circumstances to change first. It changes you, and then everything else must follow. So, my dear, pray over your home. Walk through it as though you are reclaiming sacred ground. Touch the walls, speak over each room. Call by name those who dwell there. Say, Father, let your light live here. Let no darkness find a home within these walls. Let love return to this table. Let forgiveness fill this space. And as you pray, imagine the Spirit of God moving like water, cleansing, cooling, refreshing. The home that once knew anger can learn laughter again. The kitchen that once felt cold can carry warmth again. The bed that once held sorrow can cradle rest again. For when God restores, he restores completely. He does not fix only what is broken, he beautifies it. He makes the pain part of the story of healing. He turns the wound into a wellspring of wisdom. I have seen it happen. Homes transformed not by wealth but by worship. Families reunited not by logic but by love. The smell of despair replaced by the fragrance of prayer. When you invite God in, he does not simply visit, he dwells. And where he dwells, peace becomes permanent. Maybe your home has felt like a battlefield. Maybe you've been fighting to keep faith alive in a place where anger and weariness have camped too long. But child, you must remember this. No storm lasts forever, and no darkness can stay where light is spoken. When you say, Lord, bring peace into my home, heaven listens and the winds begin to obey. You might not see the change all at once. Sometimes peace comes softly, first in your heart, then in your tone, then in the hearts of those around you, but it comes. Oh, it surely comes. Because God cannot resist a home that calls upon his name. He cannot ignore the humble cry, Lord, dwell here. There will come a day, maybe sooner than you think, when you will walk through your own door and feel it. The stillness, the warmth, the safety. You will realize that the storm has passed and that your home has become a haven again. The laughter will return. The love will breathe again. And you will know it was prayer that built it back. Remember, peace is not bought, it is invited. It is not found in things, but in presence. The world will offer you quick comforts, noise, distraction, escape, but none of them will settle your spirit. Only God's peace can turn a house into a haven. So keep praying, even when your prayers feel small, even when your voice trembles. Every word you speak in faith sends light into your home. Every declaration of love drives out fear. Every act of forgiveness plants the seed of healing. Let your home become a living sermon, a testimony that says God lives here. Let the love in your home speak louder than any argument, the faith stronger than any doubt, the laughter deeper than any sorrow. And one day, when visitors step inside your home, they will feel it before they see it, that quiet assurance, that holy stillness, that unmistakable peace. They will say, "There is something different here." And you will smile and whisper, "It is God." For the home that prays together becomes a temple. The family that forgives together becomes whole. And the heart that welcomes God never lives in chaos again. So today, let your prayer rise like incense. Let your words build a dwelling place for peace. Let your home become the evidence of what faith can do. For when God heals a home, He does not only mend the house, He mends the hearts within it. Faith, my dear, is not a thing you hold in your hands. It is a light you carry in your spirit, a flame that flickers even in the darkest night. It is not born from what your eyes can see, but from what your heart knows to be true. There will be moments, and you may be in one right now, when life feels too heavy, when you are waiting on something that seems long delayed, when the door you've been knocking on feels forever closed. But faith, child, is not passive waiting. Faith is active trust. It is the soul standing tall even when the knees are weak. It is the whisper that says God is coming through when everything else screams that He is not. There are seasons when you will pray and see no movement, when heaven feels silent, when the miracle seems far away. But let me tell you something that life has taught me over and over again. The silence of heaven is not the absence of God. It is the preparation for His arrival. He is never late, but He does not rush. Miracles are timed to meet you at the intersection of readiness and revelation. And sometimes He waits for your heart to be ready to receive what your mouth has been asking for. Trust, beloved, is what fills that waiting space. Trust is the bridge between your prayer and your miracle. It's waking up in the morning and saying, "Lord, I don't see it yet, but I know it's on the way." It's setting the table before the guests arrive. It's making room for blessings before they knock at your door. Faith prepares, trust sustains. One calls for the miracle, the other keeps the door open long enough to receive it. So when I speak of urgent miracles, I don't mean panic or desperation. No, urgent faith is not frantic, it is focused. It knows that God is moving even when the evidence is invisible. It is steady and calm because it knows who holds the timeline. You see, an urgent miracle doesn't come through anxiety, it comes through alignment. You align your heart with heaven, your words with truth, your spirit with peace. And then the miracle has a clear path to find you. I want you to know this deep within your bones. God does not respond to fear, He responds to faith. Fear says, "What if it never happens?" Faith says, "Even if it takes time, it will." Fear counts the days. Faith trusts the process. Fear tries to control. Faith releases control. You cannot receive a divine gift with clenched fists. You must open your hands, open your spirit, and say, "Lord, I trust you." There is power in that surrender. When you stop struggling to make it happen on your own, you make room for the supernatural to move. The urgency of your miracle does not depend on how hard you push, but on how completely you trust. When you finally let go of the need to understand every detail, that's when God begins to work in ways that defy reason. Sometimes the miracle is not delayed, it's being developed. The blessing you're waiting for might still be forming, being fitted, being perfected. The delay is divine craftsmanship, and you, child, are part of that process. God may be strengthening your faith so that when the miracle arrives, you will not just hold it, you will honor it. I have seen people receive blessings before they were ready to carry them, and those blessings turn to burdens. But when faith matures through trust, the blessing becomes an anchor, not a weight. That is why urgent miracles require steady faith. They come swiftly, but they stay only where peace abides. So when you pray for your miracle, and I know you will, don't let your words tremble with doubt. Let them ring with certainty. Say, Lord, I know you hear me, I know you see me, I know you are working on my behalf. Speak it even when the room feels empty, because faith is not measured by how you feel, but by what you confess. God loves the sound of a steady believer, one who stands on the promises when the winds are wild, one who says, even now I believe, one who knows that the same God who created the stars can rearrange circumstances in a heartbeat. Child, your miracle may come quietly like morning light through the curtains, or it may come suddenly like thunder rolling through the night. But it will come, because faith always calls forth a response. Heaven cannot resist the sound of trust. When you trust, you stop trying to figure out how it will happen. You stop rehearsing your fears and start rehearsing your gratitude. Gratitude is faith's twin sister. It thanks God in advance for what it knows will appear. And oh, how heaven moves when gratitude rises. The angels are drawn to it, the atmosphere shifts, and what was impossible begins to unfold like petals after rain. Perhaps your urgent miracle is not about money or healing or open doors. Perhaps the real miracle is peace, the kind that holds you steady while you wait, because there is no miracle greater than rest in the midst of chaos. When you trust, you enter that rest. You stop begging and you begin believing. You stop pacing and you begin praising. And that shift alone is powerful enough to invite heaven's hand. There will be nights when doubt will visit. It always does. It will knock softly, saying, maybe God forgot you. But you must answer it with truth. Say, my God has never forgotten anyone who has trusted him. Because that is the truth. He is not forgetful. He is faithful. His silence is not neglect. It is orchestration. Keep your faith alive, child. Feed it with prayer. Water it with patience. Strengthen it with gratitude. Do not let the noise of fear drown the quiet song of belief. Your miracle is not far from you. It is circling, waiting for the moment when your trust becomes unshakable. And when that moment comes, when heaven sees that your heart no longer wavers, the miracle will come running. It will arrive not as a surprise, but as a confirmation of what you already knew, that God was faithful all along. So stand tall. Hold your peace. Keep your trust. Because when faith and patience walk hand in hand, miracles no longer delay, they accelerate. They find you, fill you, and overflow from you. The miracle you seek is already on its way. Drawn by your trust, guided by your prayers, carried on the wind of divine timing. So breathe deeply. Rest your heart. Let faith whisper through your spirit. God is on time. And when your miracle arrives, as it surely will, you will smile, lift your hands and say, I knew you stood come through. Faith, my child, is not something you wear for a moment. It is something you live, something you breathe, something that becomes the rhythm of your days. When faith takes root deep within you, it does not end when the prayer is spoken. It continues when you rise, when you walk, when you face the world with quiet strength. The true beauty of faith is not only in what it receives, but in what it becomes: a living testimony, a daily song, a whispered reminder that God still moves among us. There are people who believe only when the miracle appears, when the blessing is visible, when the evidence stands before their eyes. But there are others, the faithful ones, who choose to believe even when the road is long and the light is dim. These are the ones who become living sermons without ever standing behind a pulpit. Their peace speaks louder than their pain. Their endurance preaches louder than their complaints. And their joy, unbroken by circumstance, becomes the voice of God echoing through an unbelieving world. When faith becomes your daily testimony, you no longer need to shout it. It begins to show in the way you carry yourself. The calm in your eyes, the gentleness in your words, the steadiness in your walk. People notice, say there's something about her. And that something is peace. The peace that faith has built within you. You see, faith is not just for the mountaintop moments. It is for the valley days too. It is for the mornings when you wake with worry. and the nights when sleep hides from you. It is for the in-between seasons when nothing seems to change, but you keep believing anyway. Faith, when lived daily, becomes your testimony, a story not written in words but in the quiet persistence of hope. When God moves in your life, do not hide it. Let your home, your speech, your kindness, your resilience reflect it, not through boasting but through gratitude, because gratitude is the echo of faith fulfilled. When others see the peace that dwells within you, they are drawn to the same source. You become a vessel through which God speaks without sound, a living miracle walking among the weary. I have seen homes transformed by one faithful heart, one person who decided to believe even when no one else would. One woman who prayed through the tears, one man who sang through the sorrow. Their faith became a light that reached every corner of their family, softening hearts, restoring trust, mending what was torn. You see, when faith lives in one person, it spills into others. It multiplies. It heals. It teaches without a word. That is why I say faith is not an event, it is a lifestyle. It is not something you put on for Sunday and fold away on Monday. It must walk with you into every room, every conversation, every decision. When you live like that, when you speak with love, when you forgive without bitterness, when you serve without recognition, you become a walking testimony that God is still alive and working through His people. And hear me, child, this world is hungry for that kind of faith. The world has enough noise, enough fear, enough performance. What it needs are men and women who live quietly but powerfully, whose peace is unshaken by the headlines, whose kindness does not waver in chaos, whose hope glows even when the night grows long. When you live that way, your very existence becomes a sermon of light. Your home becomes your pulpit. Your smile becomes your ministry. Your perseverance becomes your scripture. Every act of love, every moment of patience, every word of grace becomes a verse in your living gospel. And when people ask, how do you stay so calm? How do you keep believing when the world seems broken? That is your moment to testify. Not with pride, but with praise. Say, it is not me. It is the God who lives in me. It is the faith that has held me when nothing else could. That kind of testimony cannot be rehearsed. It can only be lived. Let your faith show in the small things. When you choose to speak softly instead of shouting, when you forgive someone who doesn't deserve it, when you pray for those who hurt you, when you give even when you lack. These moments, quiet, unseen, often uncelebrated, are where the power of faith reveals itself most clearly. And do not be discouraged when no one notices right away. The world does not always recognize holiness in its early stages. But heaven does. Heaven records every act of grace, every word of faith, every tear of trust. Your life, even in its quiet corners, is being written into eternity. There will come a day when you will look back and see how far faith has carried you. You will realize that every trial was not a punishment but preparation. Every delay was not denial but development. Every unanswered prayer was teaching you how to trust deeper, how to love stronger, how to live freer. And that, my child, will be your greatest testimony, that you did not give up when life gave you reasons to quit. Faith, when it becomes a daily testimony, does not make life easier. It makes it meaningful. You begin to see beauty in small blessings, purpose in pain, and direction in detours. You stop asking, why me, and start saying, use me. You stop waiting for the perfect day to praise and begin to praise right where you stand. Let every breath you take remind you you are a living witness of grace. Let every sunrise remind you you are not forgotten. Let every challenge remind you you are being strengthened, refined, renewed. And when you walk through this world, through storms and sunshine alike, let your peace speak for you. Let your kindness carry your faith where words cannot reach. Because faith is not just what you believe, it is what you become when you keep believing. So live it, breathe it, speak it. Let faith be your fragrance, your footprint, your legacy. Let your home hum with the sound of prayer. Let your days begin with gratitude and end with trust. Let your laughter testify that joy is stronger than sorrow, and your calm declare that peace is mightier than fear. When you live that way, you don't have to tell the world you believe. They will know. They will feel it when you walk into a room, when you speak with gentleness, when you forgive with grace. Your faith will become contagious, radiant, alive.